person that I chose to interview for my project was part owner of a place called the Vermont Restaurant, which is in Los Angeles, California, and it is more specifically in the Hollywood region. And I chose him because when I worked under him, I was able to get a first-hand knowledge of the type of management that he gives off to the staff, and I already knew a pretty decent amount about him for the fact that I worked there. Some of the questions that I chose to ask were things quite simple, like what motivated you to open your restaurant, how did you go about your hiring process, how do you deal with the stress of the economy right now since we're in this recession, how do you deal with the conflicts that come about your employees, how do you keep the motivation of your employees, what is the process that you use when training new employees, have your views changed from when you first went into business to now, how do you go about retaining your employees for long periods of time, what do you find to be the easiest part of your job / what is the hardest, and how long have you been in the industry, and what advice would you give to someone who is planning on opening their own restaurant? Those are just some of the questions. And he's a very easygoing person, so the interview was relatively more on the relaxed side. But it is located in California, and he's a part owner. He part owns with someone named Chris Diamond, and they not only own the Vermont Restaurant, but they also own a bar / grill, which is an outdoor bar called Rockwell, and they also co-own something called Crumble Catering. So they are the owners of 3 different types of businesses, and all 3 of them are very thriving. So Rockwell is an outdoor bar that serves lunch during the day, and then at night not only do they serve like drinks and stuff like that, but they also serve appetizers, so their kitchen is always open. And then Crumble Catering is the other business that they own, and they go out and cater to a lot of VIP and Hollywood parties or events. They just recently finished up with doing an event for Elton John, which is something that they do every year. The early days of this, Wayne has been in the industry for well over 20 plus years. He went to the Rhode Island School of Design and graduated with his degree in culinary arts in 1979. And before he became an owner, he actually did work in kitchens as different types of chefs. I know that he was specifically an executive chef at one of his locations. So I feel like that helped him out because he was able to get the first-hand knowledge and experience and be able to understand the business before he went up and started owning. But he has come a very far way and has accomplished so much. The things that inspired him to open his own place was to be able to give a very comfortable yet refined and elegant atmosphere while enjoying really good food. So the environment of the restaurant or the dining room, it had a very nice, elegant feel to it, but it was very comfortable, so you didn't feel like you had to go in there and be very proper all the time and like very like high class, but it was up to that standard, and the food was excellent. It was always plated and executed very well. So he wanted to be able to open somewhere that was able to give across the good food. Attached to the restaurant and the dining room, there is something called Show at Barre, which is a cabaret style show that they have showings during the week and very popular on the weekends. So it's a cabaret style. It's got a bar in there, and you can order appetizers while in there. They have, a lot of their employees have been with them for well over like 10 years now, so they're doing really good at retaining the employees that they do have because all of them are still there. The benefit that they do get there is health insurance, so that always helps a lot of them out since a lot of them are not in the best positions in the world. But they do love what they do, and you can always tell through their food. But like word of mouth, because they are so well known, very popular, that if they ever did need to hire anybody, it would be relatively on the easier side. I feel like the only difficult part would be making sure that they're a good person to have on the team and that would fit well with everybody else. The motivation that is going through the whole place is very, very high. And the fact that Wayne runs the path in the kitchen, he really puts forth an effort to make himself part of the team, make sure that everything is running smoothly. He's not just an owner that just comes every once in a while. He is always there overseeing everything. And that's always a good motivator for people because then they at least are more personable and know more about the person that owns the place. So he makes everyone feel very important and makes everyone feel like we're one machine and that without one person we wouldn't work as well. It isn't a perfect world, so we know that everyone won't always get along between the kitchen people or the wait staff, but that's more common to happen during high stress situations that do come with working at a restaurant. And since he is always there on the floor with us and everything like that, if there's ever a problem, he takes care of it right away, always squishes it, so there's never really a problem in the first place. So before anything can ever escalate, he always makes sure that it gets taken care of, which is always good because no one wants anything to get escalated. He will make sure that everyone had their eye on the fact that we're there to do a job and work together like a well-oiled machine. I always thought this was one of his really good qualities as a manager, because if you get it taken care of, things will only get better from there and you can go on to having a better night. When it comes to training new employees, it takes a couple of weeks. You start off by working on your part of the line instead of being thrown just head in, even if you do have experience. You work under one of the other chefs and you progressively work your way through being able to do different aspects of your station. You will begin working on the slower nights so that you're not getting rushes, and it gives you more time to grasp how the line works and how the things are done around there. You'll learn by cutting things a certain way and prepping your station. Once you get those down, it comes to becoming one with your station. And when you know how things are prepared and assembled, after that you can work on how fast you do things, because the faster the better. It's a very good process because everyone there is very nice and does a good job at making you feel welcomed, and they don't make you feel like you're dumb if you do something wrong. So everyone is there to help each other out, but once you know your station pretty well, things can only go good from there. And I asked if it's hard to juggle between having 3 different companies, and he said it is sometimes a challenge, but it is a little bit better when it comes to not being the only owner, being a partnership. So Wayne really covers a lot of the Vermont restaurant and the Rockwell, and then Chris oversees a lot of the catering companies. So there's a lot of equalness in the business, which is why they're being able to thrive so well, because they're always looking for new ideas, getting new things from the people that work there, so using everyone inside, always moving forward in the future instead of just staying in the past. And I asked if there was any advice, and he said if there was any advice that I could give to someone who has the dream, I would say to make sure that the passion is there, because if you don't have passion, then you will not get very far. Always keep your head up and be good at a problem solving fast to keep the wheels turning. If you have the motivation, drive, and passion, then you will be able to do anything. And I strongly believe this, and The fact that he gets to know everybody and is always around, I feel makes him a very good manager, and that they're always looking for new ideas and new things to try always keeps them ahead of the rest of the people. So that's a little bit of my interview.